Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial today. So in this video, we are going to be learning how to make this draped kind of bustier design. Even those details there, I'm also going to be explaining how I achieved those things. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. Kind of a sweetheart bustier and it's draped. So if that's what you want to see, then watch this video to the very end. I have my basic bodice front here, side bust dart and waist dart. So from the midpoint of my shoulder, I went ahead to mark my under bust measurement. I don't even think this is necessary. Like this is not necessary, but I just did it anyway. And I found out later that it wasn't necessary. So having done that, having done that, I went ahead to check where I want that kind of deep sweetheart neckline, where I want it to start. I'm using 8 inches because the white fabric is not a net. You're not going to be showing any cleavage. Like I said, I'm a modest fashion designer, so I try to make decent designs look fashionable and nice. So it's actually this deep because we're not using a lace fabric or a see-through fabric, okay? The white is not see-through. So I'm going to have to design it, like style it the way I want the cuff to be. And I felt like this isn't good, or I don't know. Just I decided to bring it down the more. Okay, I decided to bring it down the more. This is optional. You can leave yours as the first or the second. So I went ahead to open up my side bust dart, which I'm currently doing now. And also I went ahead to open up my waist dart, which I'm also doing right now. So I haven't done that. I'm going ahead to close up the side bust dart to open it at the waist dart, just so we can have minimal darts to work on, okay? Just so we can minimize the manipulations and all that. So I haven't done that. I'm trying to decide that very front drape, the very first drape. I'm trying to decide what it should look like. So I'm going to have to draw in a style line like so. Feeling it should be like this. I'm going to have to draw in a style line like so, okay? So this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to use my ruler to check if there's a way I can make it straight. Like I'm trying to wrap my head around what it's going to look like. So I decided to close up the waist darts like so. If you've been following my videos, you should get used to me closing up waist darts like so. So I went ahead to close up my waist darts. So this is what we're having. And then I'm just going to kind of make that style line, trying to see if there's another way I can do it. Like I said, this design is like something I just kind of thought of in my head. So I'm trying to check if what is going to look like, giving so many style lines and cutting them open, seeing what it's going to look like. So I tried the first one first, and I found out that no, it's not going to work because the pointed area is still there. So I had to tape it back, okay? So you don't have to do this, please. I had to tape it back. You don't have to do this, okay? I have to tape it back. So I used the second style line, which is the actual one, and I opened it and everything, lay it down flat. So you can see. So I felt like I kind of folded my paper while closing up the waist dart. So I went ahead to open it up to make everything lay flat and nice. So having done this, I'll go ahead to impute the rest of the style lines for the drapes. The rest of the style lines for the drapes, okay? And so this is what they look like. I just drew in 2 lines. You can draw as many lines as possible, but if you're a beginner, please start with 2 so that it doesn't get bulky for you. Just start with 2. So this is what I did. And I'm going ahead to cut off the yoke part of it like so before I work on the draped bustier. So I'm going to have to cut off the yoke area like so. So this is what I'm doing right now, labeling yoke, cutting it off, okay? And then this is it. So for this area, I had to cut like you're going to open. It's not slash and spread. You're opening like you want to create a gather. And when you're gathering, you open up entirely. You're not cutting two. You're not cutting two. You're cutting through, like you're cutting open. So I had to cut open like this because I want to create where I'm going to be folding over, and I want it to also fold over at that very edge. I want it to fold over this very armhole area, okay? So that's the way I'm doing it. Just follow exactly what I'm doing and you will understand what I'm doing better. So I'm joining the white paper to make sure that it's enough for everything I'm going to be doing, okay? So I'm using my ruler to check those things to see that the line is in line. And for the other drape, this is what I'm doing. I'm not cutting through, I'm cutting two. Like you want to form a flare, like slash and spread, okay? I'm cutting two and not through. So that's the way it's going to be for the second one. And then I'll go ahead to tape it down, just make sure it lays flat and nice. So I haven't done this. This is what it looks like. And then I'll go ahead to fold in. If you've been following my videos, you should get used to me folding in before removing the excess papers. So I'm going to have to fold in to bring this fabric to bring it back to what it looks like, okay? Bring it back to its original state. I'm going to have to fold it in like so. I'm going to have to fold it back, fold it in back like so. Do not worry about that part. We're going to through it and everything will come out nice. We're going to through it and I'm showing you what I'm going to do right in this video. Okay. So I'll go ahead to tape down everything just so it's in place and I'm able to work on it properly. So I'm taping everything down now like this. Also here, I'm going to have to close it up. Like you want to be careful with this so you don't ruin your original pattern, okay? So I'm going to have to close this up like so. Then using my sellotape, I'm going to be holding everything down, okay? I'm going to be taping everything down. So, I always emphasize on labeling. You want to label properly. If you don't label properly, by the time you open up this pattern, you get confused on where to fold and where not to fold. So you have to label properly. I'm using my ruler to make sure that this forms is straight, like it's straight, okay? The center front is straight. I don't know if you get me. I'm trying to make sure that the center front is straight. So I'm going to have to cut this off like so, following the exact shape of the original pattern. So here, this is what we're having now. I've trued it as you can see. So I went ahead to open it up the way it's supposed to be when we want to cut it on the fabric. So I'm opening everything up like so now. I hope this is very explainable. So having done that, I'm feeling like some parts are kind of open, like it's bulgy. So I'm going ahead to check where the mistake is from and I'll correct it, okay? So I want everything to lay flat and nice. Having done that now, I'll go ahead to label on the white paper. This is what the yoke looks like. That's what it looks like with the yoke. So I'm going ahead to label on the white paper. For the place where I'm folding in, I'm labeling C, which is closed. The place where I'm supposed to open in, I'm labeling O, which is open. The brown paper, where the brown paper is your original pattern. So it's supposed to be open. Label that place open, like O. The white paper is C, closed. So having done that, I'm going ahead to remove the whole of the brown paper. Make sure you label. If you don't label, you get confused while sewing. And you probably might sew where it's supposed to be closed and where it's supposed to be open. I don't know, you might mix up things. I just hope you understand. You're prone to mix up things. So just make sure you label. So having done that, I'm going to have to tape this down like so. Just so I show you what it's going to look like before we start sewing. Like this is the need of pattern drafting. You're going to see what your actual design will look like even before you start sewing. So I'm taping this down and this is what we're having. Taping this down, this is what we're having. So I'm also going to have to tape this down. Like I said, that very part, as you can see, for the cut through. So this is what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. I'll just use my sellotape to hold it down, like hold some things down. But this is just what it's going to look like. I hope everything was explained properly the way you're going to understand it. I hope everything was explained properly, like the way you're going to understand it. If you have any question, leave it in the comment section below and I will answer you as soon as possible. So for that very upper bodies, I used organza to cut like irregular shapes. Look at the circle. The circle is not a perfect circle. It has these irregular shapes. So you want to fold, like I folded, kind of triangular way I folded. So I'm going to be using it to form a flower. I think so, a flower. I'm using it to form a flower. So this isn't very visible. I don't know why. I think I did very badly in videoing this very part. It's not really visible. Maybe because I was having kind of, this fabric is so light. So I was having so much difficulties trying to make it not to gather, trying to make it to be kind of neat and nice. So I don't know why, maybe I wasn't videoing properly. So this is what I'm going to be doing, folding it and making sure that it's coming round, stitching it to the fabric round, like in a rounded form, just so it forms a rose. And at the very center, I'm going to be using a sequence and a stopper bead to just put there, like the first one that we can see. That was basically what I did here. That was basically what I did. You have to be very careful while doing this so your fabric does not fold, like it doesn't shrink, okay? If it folds, you might be having shortage of fabric while sewing. So you want to be very careful while doing this so your fabric does not fold or shrink together. So yes, this is what it looks like and I'm doing it right away. So here it is, still going ahead to fix it up. So using my stopper bead, okay, as you can see, my sequence and my stopper bead. So I went ahead to sew it in like so. This is what it looks like. And this is the final look. You can, if you like, you can put yours on the whole of the yoke, but then I didn't have the strength to do that. So going ahead now, I'm going to be folding. As you can see, I've marked close, open, close, open. And when I sew, I'm going to be sewing those things up. So I'm going to be using my pin to hold this down. You want to pin not on the area where you're sewing. So I'm going to be using the pin to hold this down to make my life easier for me before I start sewing. So I'm going ahead to pin this down and I'll sew right away, okay? Also remember the other part where we cut through. I'm also going ahead to pin it down. So go ahead to also pin it down because we're also going to be sewing on that very part. So I'm going to be sewing now, like so. So I'm going to be sewing now like so, and this is what it looks like. So I haven't done that even for the other side also. I'm going ahead to sew it. And same thing we are going to be doing on the other side. Remember, I had to cut it on two pieces. Sorry, I didn't say it. I had to cut it on a two piece. Okay, you see both of them. You see both of them, okay? You see both of them. So I haven't done that. These are the two pieces like so. I'm going to have to join the center fronts together. You want to make sure that those draped lines, like those draped effects, they are in unison. You don't want to sew like one is on top, the other one is below. You want to make sure that they are in unison. And if you've drafted your pattern well, they are supposed to be in unison. If you've labeled properly on your pattern and you're sure the same label you have is on your fabric, they're supposed to be in unison. Okay, so you want to sew in unison so you have this very neat and professional look. So one is not bigger than the other, and that's what I'm trying out here now. Once you cut your pattern properly and you label properly, you're not going to be having any difficulty making them to be in unison. So that's what I'm doing right away. So this is what it looks like. Okay. And I'll go ahead to put in the white fabric. That is the yoke. I'll go ahead to put in our yoke. Okay. So for the yoke, I know some persons are having difficulty sewing this. You want to put that very pointed part of the yoke to the center and you flip over. When you put your needle, you flip over to the part where you want to sew, then you start sewing. I hope that's understandable. And you start sewing all the way to where you want to stop. Remember, this is a curved edge, like it's curved, it's not straight. So you want to be very careful while sewing it. You want to be extremely careful while sewing it. Like you want to be very careful while sewing it. And after sewing, make sure you notch. You notch that area where you've sewn. You notch it. If possible, if after notching it is going to lay out flat, I don't really recommend top stitching. Top stitching for me doesn't look professional. Okay, just notch it and you iron it and everything is going to come out very nice. Okay, so same thing we are going to be doing to the other part of this very design. And this is what we came up with. I haven't even ironed it. See you in my next